Welcome, welcome to our event, Impact Over Intent, Undocumented Safety and Policy. We'll be starting momentarily. If you want to start to share this event on your social media pages, go ahead and do that, as well as we're live streaming on the Office of Diversity Intercultural Life page, and we are recording this, which will be later presented on the Office of Diversity and Intercultural Life YouTube page. So thank you for joining us, and we'll start momentarily. I'm so happy that we have so many people here. My name is Sheree Myricks, and I serve as the Director of Diversity and Intercultural Life here at North Park University. And I want to welcome you to our fourth event of the week, which is Impact Over Intent, Safety and Policy for North Park University Undocumented Students, as well as students with mixed immigration statuses. This event is a part of our first annual Undocumented or Undoc Week, which is going on from November 2nd. So we started on Monday to the 6th, and we're so great to have that. Our following sponsors for Undocumented Student Week is the Council for Christian Community and Universities. Thank you so much for your generous grant. The North Park Rising Dreamers United Student Organization, otherwise known as RDU, the Office of Diversity and Intercultural Life, known as ODIL, the Office of Career Development and Internships, known as OCDI, and last but not least, the North Park University Student Government Association, known as SGA. We have an exciting panel and information session for everyone today. And so we just want to thank you for your time. We're first going to start off with our Undergraduate Student Government Association. Then we'll have a presentation by myself, Sheree Myers, the Director of Diversity and Intercultural Life. And lastly, we'll be joined by the Vice President for Student Engagement, Andrea Nevels. Lastly, we will have a portion where our audience to unmute yourselves and let's have a small discussion about how you would like to stay safe or see any changes or maybe any interventions or initiatives that we can take to make sure that our undocumented students and students with mixed immigration statuses feel safe. I do send regards and regrets from our interim director, John Smith of Campus Security. He unfortunately could not be here today. However, we do have remarks from him. So to get started, I just want to give you some information about North Park University and our history with immigration and undocumented students, because I think it's really safe to set the tone. So do know that at North Park University, we were founded in 1891, and our origins are rooted in the 19th century immigration series, where we had those coming from Sweden here from Chicago to establish our university. And so immigration has been a very essential part to who we are as Christians, as those that are city-centered, and those that are intentionally intercultural. And then as it relates to DACA, and as it relates to students that are undocumented, in 2017, North Park, which was under the leadership of President Carson, signed the statement of support for deferred action for childhood arrivals, and that is the official name of DACA, and as well as signed a statement for undocumented immigrated students to influence the continuation of DACA and encourage our government leaders to keep DACA in place. Since then, North Park University has had a commitment to not only upholding Chicago, Illinois' sanctuary city ordinances, but also committed to the further education of undocumented students and those with mixed immigration statuses. We premiered our Pritzker Scholars Program in 2017, which has allowed scholars each year to come in who are undocumented and get an education in a cohort setting. As we have seen that program come to an end, we have deepened our commitment to undocumented students by signing a relationship and agreement with the U.S. Dreams Partnership, which is the premier undergrad program to support students in higher education who are undocumented and with mixed immigration status. And this year, we welcome 14 scholars to North Park University due to that status. 10 being first-year students and 4 students being transferred. And so we continue to make sure that we are an institution that supports the mixed immigration status or the undocumented status of our students, to be a welcoming campus to all and support the education, because it's more than just a dream for our students, but it is a reality. And we know that the policies and procedures at the government level, both locally and federally, are fluid. And so we are still fighting the ongoing battle to make sure that students that have DACA status or mixed immigration status get the education, the rights, and privileges that they deserve in this country. So without further ado, I will hand it over to our SGA President, Olivia Price, as well as our SGA Diversity Representative, Inka, who also serves as the president of Riser Dreamers United. Welcome to our program, and we are looking forward to hearing more from you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. So I think we're going to start out our discussion with some information about how to be a better ally to students with mixed immigration statuses. And then we'll kind of go into how SGA is hoping to support our peers who are undocumented. So Iga, did you want to share the PowerPoint on your end? And then we can go into it if you want.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now, so give me one.
Perfect, thanks.
And while they are pulling it up, please do not miss our program tomorrow, given by the Riser Dreamers United, a movie night. And it's in person. So please make sure that you come out and support that event tomorrow. Look for more information on Engage.
Okay, are you able to see this screen? That is being, okay, awesome. All right, so this is just a little PowerPoint we put together on how to be a better ally, and this isn't just for art club, but any other diversity club that we do have on campus. So before you can fight for the rights of others, you have to understand what rights you have and that others don't. So here are some 5 tips for being a good ally. First, you have to understand your privilege. And again, privilege does not mean that you're rich, you've had an easy life, or that you've never worked hard for anything you wanted. What it does mean are there are some things in life that you will not experience or have never had to think about because of who you are. Listen and do your homework. You can't learn if you're not willing to listen. Watch, listen, and read. Seek out stories and experiences you may have not encountered or heard before. We had a great storytelling event 2 nights ago where we had students share their stories, and that was very impactful just to hear their stories and their experiences that other people simply just do not experience because of the privilege and power that they are in. Speak up and not over. An ally's job is to support. So we ask that you use your privilege and voice to educate others in a way that doesn't speak over the community you're supporting or take credit for things they've already been saying. You'll make mistakes, so just apologize when you do. You may have to unlearn things. It takes time and work, so you're bound to mess up a few times. It's not about your intent, it's about your impact. If you get called out, listen, apologize, and commit to changing your behavior and move forward. And remember, ally is a verb. Saying you're an ally isn't enough. You have to do the work. So with all the steps I've mentioned before, these are different ways that you can further support this community. Diversity is a fact, inclusion is a decision, belonging is a feeling. Our people are our greatest strength. And on this slide, I included a couple allyship resources, which includes podcasts, books, films, and series. I can also email this out to everyone that isn't in attendance today, as well as share it to our NPU Engage page for RDU. And some of these podcasts include Waiting for the Immigration Raids, which was, I believe, by, actually, I cannot tell you who it was by, so it's in the link. And there's also A Small Act of Rebellion, The Undocumented Americans, and a few books are Organizing While Undocumented by Kevin Escudero, Lives in Limbo by Roberto G. Gonzalez, They Take Our Jobs, and 20 Other Myths About Immigration by Aviva Kominsky. And a couple films and series. These are very popular that are on Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon, so they're widely available to everyone. And it includes Living Undocumented, which is on Netflix, Party of Five on Hulu, and Under the Same Moon, which we have watched earlier this school year, this semester with RDU. And now I will give it over to Olivia Price.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming today. So I just want to talk a little bit about how student government is offering support to our peers who are undocumented or have mixed immigration statuses. And so we're committed to supporting our peers at North Park during this time who are undocumented, especially right now as we move through the election season. And we actually recently passed a resolution through our general counsel reiterating our support for our peers, no matter what their immigration or citizen status is. This resolution was passed thanks to the hard work of our student diversity representative, Iga, and our other members of our advocacy committee. So in our general council as well, we have other senators who are dedicated for each class and broken down by class to serve specific groups. And so they can be contacted as well for students who maybe want support on their initiatives and concerns regarding immigration status. And in addition, myself and my vice president, Brooklyn Seals, are always willing to work with students as well. And so then on the next slide, I've included the resolution that was passed, and I can just read a little excerpt of it. so you can kind of hear what the idea behind it was and what it hopes to share to our peers. So in the summer of 2020, the Supreme Court voted in favor of the young adults affected by deferred action of childhood arrivals, DACA, by voting that the dismantling of the program by President Trump was deemed unconstitutional. DACA is more than a protection against deportation. It provides students with a safe and legal way to work, drive, and travel. These students are as much a part of the North Park in Chicago as any student. They deserve to pursue a higher education. DACA recipients are bright, driven, and unequivocally hard workers. These students face additional hardships that include not being able to apply for financial aid or to receive loans for school, which many of our students depend on. At North Park, student government and Rising Dreamers United maintain an unwavering commitment to those students who chose us by making sure they are supported and have a voice on campus. The university offers various scholarships, including the Lighthouse, Pritzker, and Dream US that undocumented students are eligible for. And then as a liberal arts university founded by Swedish Covenant Evangelical Church members that supports a Christian distinctive, as Christians, we believe each person is made in God's image and so should be treated humanely, and that God is concerned with the well-being of those who are vulnerable, including the foreigner. And then on the next slide, I've included the contacts, so the emails of some of the relevant people on our student government who, if students want to get in touch with us to talk more about partnering with us in any way, they can. So I've included both my email and the email of my vice president, and then the email of all of our class senators, and then our advocacy officer, which is a new role. They're an executive committee member, and they are dedicated to just working with students on issues of advocacy, and then our student diversity representative, Iga. So that we can send that out after this too, and if you want to, you can take a screenshot of it, so you can have it if you need. But yeah, so thank you for giving us a chance to share some of our hope for student government and partnering with students and Rising Dreamers United.
Thank you so much, Representative Inca and President Olivia. We appreciate your hard work and time and attention to bringing this to the entire student body. Resolutions definitely are a commitment and a not just a statement, but it shows that students really care about their fellow peers and that they're willing to commend a statement that is going to dictate how they move about their lives of significance and service. It is also a document that lives throughout the test of time to show that Student Government Association stands for all students, regardless of immigration status or residency. So I applaud you. And of course, as your advisor, I'm just so proud. That's so great. So, Representative Inca, if you could provide just a little bit more information about Rising Dreamers United and how it can support students here at North Park with community for students and allies of DACA as well as mixed immigration status.
Absolutely, thanks, Sheree. So Rising Dreamers United was created back when I was a freshman, so that was the first year. It was established back in 2017. Essentially, over time, the club has really evolved from being almost just a handful of people to this really known club on campus now. And essentially what Rising Dreamers United is, it is a club mainly specific toward for DACA, undocumented, and mixed immigration as long as immigrants on campus. Again, that does not mean that you have to fit with either one of those categories. You can be a citizen of the US and you are more free to join. This is just another way for you to learn more about other cultures that you may not know about beforehand. And also being undocumented is not tied to any specific race or gender or ethnicity. It is a global issue that we have in this country. And with how things have turned within like the US with the different attacks on immigration, this club was formed and turned into just another support system that students have on campus. This is kind of where students can lean on to learn more information about different things that are happening in the news. So recently over the summer, as was mentioned in the resolution, President Trump 3 years ago tried to dismantle DACA, and then the Supreme Court over the summer this year decided that that was unconstitutional the way he went about trying to dismantle the program. So now there have been a bunch of resources that have come out, a lot of different scholarships in support of Dreamers, which is what DACA recipients are known as also. That's like a nickname that they like to use, are Dreamers. And so this club is really just another support system to support its students, for there to be people to advocate for these students on campus. So just another way for students to learn more about the different support systems that North Park has, as well as different organizations that we may be able to connect with that will further support these students on campus.
Thank you so much, Representative and President of Rising Dreamers United. I also want to acknowledge that this group has been not only fostering community on our campus to make sure our students feel safe and feel connected of DACA and mixed immigration status, they've also been involved in advocacy, which is so proud to see. In 2007, they led a rally all day to talk about the importance of DACA, establishing it, making sure that it is here to stay, and to make sure that our North Park community was expressing that stance. You just seen how Inka is leading a charge in her role in student government by making sure there's a resolution on this topic. And I am also proud to say that the organization went to an immigration summit right before COVID-19 at Bethel University through the Council for Christian Colleges and University, and secure the grant for this week's programming to make sure that there was a week dedicated for advocacy, education, and celebration of our undocumented and mixed immigration students. So thank you so much, Ika, for being such a great leader on this campus. And thank you so much to President Olivia for following that charge and allowing this platform to happen. I also want to note one thing that Representative and President Inka said is that we as good allies should make sure that we apologize when we mess up. And so I want to give a shout out to Hannah Bobosa, who serves as the Rising Dreamers United advisor, who made sure that I was corrected. It was President Parkin in 2017 that made sure that DACA support from the senior leadership was given by North Park University. So thank you so much for the correction. So next, as a director of Diversity and Intercultural Life, you must know that we are committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion in all facets, and that includes residency. It is within our new statement and mission and vision for the office that me and Assistant Director Marcus Payne II wrote this summer. And so please go to our website and see our new revision of the different identities we include. But residency was definitely one that we wanted to make sure was a part of that. And of course, supporting our Rising Dreamers United student organization, which I would say at the Immigration Summit at Bethel University in February, it was actually seen that many universities, even in Chicago, do not have such an organization on their campus. And so I'm very proud to say that we have an organization that is solely dedicated to community and education and advocacy for undocumented and mixed immigration student statuses. Again, I just really wanted to come and talk about our safety and support for our students of mixed immigration status, as well as our students that are undocumented. You've already heard of so many of the initiatives that are within that was in the presentation from SGA. But I wanted to highlight, first and foremost, us being city-centered and being Chicagoans. And what is Chicago doing regarding safety and policy for our undocumented students and mixed status? So did you know that Chicago is a sanctuary city? And we actually have a welcoming city ordinance, which means that the city will not ask a student or any Chicagoan about their immigration status, need to disclose that information to authorities, or most importantly, the city will deny you of services based on your immigration status. So I'm going to make sure that you see the information that was actually posted by our mayor, Lori Lightfoot, in the beginning of her term regarding being a sanctuary city. And so do know that North Park is in Chicago. And so we are a part of that welcoming city ordinance, as well as being a sanctuary city. So what does it mean to be a welcoming city here in Chicago? Do know that being a welcoming city and having this ordinance in place, it covers all Chicagoans. And that includes every single one of us at North Park and within our community. And it also protects us at school, so here at North Park University, or at work. It means that the Chicago police officers cannot arrest on the basis of immigration statuses. This was actually set in place by the city of Chicago and Mayor Emanuel back in 2013. And the city council of Chicago took extra steps to make sure that this ordinance protects the rights of immigrants or those that are undocumented, as well as all residents, to ensure that the city's resources and services, regardless of immigration statuses, was available to all. That was then furthered by our mayor, current mayor, Lori E. Lightfoot, who is continuing to enforce this ordinance, and by making sure that Chicago is a welcoming city. And so do know, and let me reiterate again, that Chicago Police Department officers cannot cooperate with ICE or any immigration agency to make sure that students and are deported here in Chicago, and that all services and benefits that are afforded to all Chicagoans are guaranteed and available regardless of immigration statuses. I'm going to make sure that the information on the ordinance, which is about 2 pages, is available for everyone to read so that you can have that information. Now, as you know, I'm a very transparent person. And so one thing that you will see that is out there, that a lot of aldermen and those that are in politics, as well as in our community, are still fighting to make sure that our mayor, the city council, as well as others here in Chicago, are going a little bit further to support those with immigration status. And so there are 4 exemptions to the particular statute or the particular ordinance of welcoming city. So do know that the Chicago Police Department and any multi-principal agencies can cooperate with ICE and apply in any investigation to the 4 following, okay? So if someone has an outstanding criminal warrant, if someone is convicted of a felony within jurisdiction, so within Chicagoland, if the defendant in a criminal case of any court within Chicagoland has a judgment not entered and a felony charge is pending, and lastly, that person being identified or known as a gang member in law enforcement agency database or by their own admission. So these are 4 exemptions to the particular welcoming city ordinance where Chicago Police Department is restricted from intervening in any ICE involvement. However, do know that I have, and again, talked to our interim campus security director, which is John Smits. And he does want to make sure that everyone here knows that regarding North Park policies and procedures, and as it stands with the campus security will never ask or take in account citizenship or immigration status. So again, he wants to reiterate that Chicago police are prohibited by the same general order, which this is the ordinance that I'm talking about, the Welcoming City Ordinance. And there has never, to his knowledge, and he's been here over 20 years, been a federal officer on this campus. And so please do know that you should feel safe, you should feel welcome, and you should feel included here at North Park University. And I hope that you know that that's extended throughout Chicagoland. And so we hope that you learn a little bit more information about your rights and your privileges of being a Chicagoan by being a sanctuary city, as well as by the Welcoming City Ordinance. I also want to highlight some resources, as our SGA representative and president did as well. Here in Chicago, all residents, which all of us are, who have been victims of discrimination can file a complaint with the Chicago Commission of Human Relations. To file a complaint or to speak with an investigator, you can contact the commission at 317-744-4111. Again, that's 312-744-4111. For immigration assistance, you can reach out to the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights, And that telephone number is 1-855-435-7693. And if you can't remember that, that's okay. It's 1-855-HELP-MY-FAMILY. And so do know that the Illinois Coalition for Immigrants and Refugees Rights is available. Lastly, we do have here in Chicago a Chicago Legal Clinic. If you have any questions about your DACA status or any other immigration questions, that number is available at 773-731-1764 or 312-731-4264. I'll make sure that you get all these available resources for you, as well as do know if at North Park you do feel like you've been discriminated due to your immigration status, please submit a report in EARS for you or anyone you know. So that can be investigated by our Dean of Students or Title IX coordinator, as well as we do have policies in place for discrimination, harassment, intimidation, sexual violence, and other disputes. And you can check that out on our website, but mainly our Title IX coordinator website. So I hope that this was helpful in making you feel safe and secure. Lastly, do know that the Office of Diversity and Intercultural Life is committed to supporting and ensuring that our students feel safe and included, that are undocumented and have mixed immigration statuses. At any time that we can support a student, we are willing to do that. You're more than welcome to visit us, hang out, lounge at the Collaboratory, which is in Stallbarg Hall, first floor, and you can always contact me or Assistant Director Marcus Payne II by just emailing us at diversity@northpark.edu. Slide into our DMs and Instagram, go on Facebook, go on Twitter, and we are more than happy to assist you in any way we can. And so please know that we are committed as an office to our undocumented and mixed immigration students. So without further ado, I want to introduce our Vice President for Student Engagement, Andrea Nevels, who is going to provide you with support from the university regarding students of DACA, of undocumented status, or mixed immigration status. Thank you so much for your time, Vice President Nevels.
Thank you, Cherie. I really appreciate it. And I apologize for being late. I was in an HLC meeting, so, I'm trying to navigate all of the things for the schedule, my schedule in particular. The support for undocumented students, in my opinion, should be the same as every other student on campus, because you guys are just as vibrant, just as committed. You're North Park students. So all of the support that comes from student engagement, as well as across campus with faculty, staff, and one another. I find that if there are issues or concerns that you have with regard to instances that are of concern, Director Myris has already alluded to areas by which you can make those issues or concerns known, just as any other student. So I want you to know that you have my support, you have the support of every other cabinet member, faculty, and staff on campus. Are there particular support mechanisms? And I'll ask the question of you guys, because I need to know if there's a particular support mechanisms where you feel as though you need additional assistance. So I will ask that. I'm not going to put you on the spot. If you want to put it in the chat, or if you want to email me later, or if there are those of you who would like to share them with me now, I am more than happy to have a conversation with you about it. I know I'm not sure how much time we have. I think we're on until 1, and I don't know if I have 5 or 10 minutes. I don't know how long Cherie gave me, but please share with me, because I can't speak to the things that you need if you don't share with me what the needs are.
Thank you, Vice President Nevels. And of course, you have all the time you need. And so a question is on the floor, which is our next portion. We want to know from our students, our faculty and staff that are joining us today, we would like to engage in a conversation about making sure our students that are undocumented and of mixed status feel safe and secure and included on our campus. So if you have any ideas, if you have any suggestions or things you would like to see, you have the Vice President of Student Engagement at your disposal. You also have myself, the Director of Diversity and Intercultural Life. And lastly, you have our President of Rising Dreamers United here, as well as our student body president here. So please feel free to unmute yourself or place it in the chat, and I'll make sure that you also get our email addresses if you feel a little bit reserved, and that is okay. So I welcome any of you to the floor.
Hi, this is Christine Aronson. I'm the Director of Advising for Health Professions. And so I'm a secondary advisor for all students who are interested in health professions. So they all have primary faculty advisors, but by being a secondary advisor, I have about 200 advisees. And so I certainly have had mixed immigration status and DACA students in the past. I know I do now. I'm sure I do now. I don't know everyone. I think what would be really helpful is a year or two ago, there were some situations that resulted in student engagement, publishing and distributing to us and educating us on what to do for distressed students, as an example. And how to best, sort of what to do in the moment of crisis, but also how to best support them. And so I think like different groups of students have different needs and different support needs, and there are different ways to do that. Like if there was something, and if there's something like this that exists and I just don't know about it, I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, but if there's some sort of, not necessarily like a checklist or a flow chart per se, but just something that would help us to best support, here are a few tips for supporting dreamers, supporting mixed immigration students, supporting, what are some frequently asked questions maybe?
Actually, what's coming up very soon is the mental health training. And I will actually bring that up to Laura Ebner and Melinda Lee with regard to maybe including a component for DACA students and undocumented students. And then suggesting that maybe there is an additional component that would be focused on that in particular. That's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up.
That would be helpful. Just to have a little bit extra, so we are a little bit more aware and conscious of how we're helping students, all of our students. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for that suggestion. Anyone else? Welcome to the floor. You can unmute yourself or put it in the chat.
One thing I would like to add is, after speaking with Karina Flores, which she runs the Career Development and Internship Office, I believe it is in the works also that we will be creating, or the intent is to create a page in order to, that is specifically for undocumented students. So when it comes to applying for internships and applying for jobs, kind of another way of like, it'll include like frequently asked questions as well when it comes to applying for different jobs and everything. Because with internships, some students in the past have had to change their major in order to avoid that internship credit because they just are unable to get it because most employers do require a social security number or background checks, which the students either do not have or are uncomfortable to provide them. So that is something that is in the works that I hope will be done. I mean, because IT usually takes pretty long, you can't just create a website overnight, but that page is coming into the work. So hopefully that will be a good resource for students just to kind of, when it comes down to, when it asks, what is your legal status? Are you a resident? Are you a permanent resident? Are you a US citizen, or are you undocumented? And just kind of following the steps of what do you do in those situations. So that's going to be another platform to further help students when it comes to applying for jobs, applying for internships, and anything in the career field, because in the end, we are all here to start our career, to go out into the workforce. So that's going to be a further support system in order to help students with those questions that they might have.
Yeah, I agree, Iga. That's very important. And actually, Iga and I had a quick conversation. We're having another one next week about just working toward that effort, because it's very important. I mean, spending, your 4 years in college and then not having the opportunity for an internship, or even someone who is focused on that effort and can provide you with the insights that they need is critical and vital to your future. So yes, Karina is working on that. IT does take a little longer, but I'm going to help push it along, that we might be able to get at least an FAQ page up. That will be helpful to provide, as well as more information in the career development area is vital and very important. And particularly with internships and those that will allow undocumented DACA students to participate without the need for a social security number. I agree. Thank you for that comment.
There is a question in the chat that would prefer to remain anonymous. And it would be, I will try to assist in answering the question with our vice president. Does North Park University have a response plan for if undocumented students or those with mixed statuses in immigration and their families are victims of an ICE raid? And I just want to make sure everyone knows what ICE is, because we keep saying that word. So it's the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So this would be the department set by the federal government to enforce immigration. To my knowledge, do know that Students and staff are protected, to my knowledge, by the Chicago Police. We are protected by, or we are under the 17th district here in Chicago. And so also our campus security staff has informed us that there will be no raids on campuses, or at least our campus, because we are sanctuary. However, do know that if it is learned that a student or their family have been a victim of such situation, and hopefully they are able to contact us and are not being held at that time, of course, we will provide support. So as our vice president has already talked about, we do have student care that is here, and that would be able to provide support for the student. Of course, we have a robust counseling department to make sure that student is able to debrief and process and focused on the trauma of what has happened, as well as we'll be working with Sumi Song, director, and Dr. Sumi Song in the international office to see if there's any additional local and national resources, as well as community resources that we can provide to that student and their families to provide any relief or any resources to make sure that that student is taken care of. So those are some of the actions. And of course, as soon as I know about it or the VP knows about it, we're loving on that student. We're reaching out to the student. We're making sure that not only their educational and academic care is being done, and whatever that looks like, whether that's looking at accommodations for a while or even for the semester to take care of, but also making sure the social component for that student is being taken care of. And we've done so many steps, from providing food relief to providing book relief, looking at housing opportunities. So there's a plethora of resources that we can offer the student to see if they feel comfortable and have the support that they need to thrive as a student and as a Chicagoan. Vice President Nevels, is there anything you would like to add to that?
No, I think you covered it with regard to just the availability of resources from North Park. And we do understand that oftentimes it's difficult for students to even share that information with us. But as you've indicated, because we are a sanctuary city, it's something that wouldn't occur in Chicago, but it doesn't mean that that family doesn't live outside of Chicago. So we just would need to be made aware of.
Thank you. We have another anonymous question. Is North Park a sanctuary university? And if not, can we start the process to become one?
I believe when an institution is in a sanctuary city, that they're a sanctuary institution. I'm not positive, but I believe that that will be the case.
Melissa, did you want to say something? I saw you. You're not muted. You're muted.
Sorry. Hi. I'm definitely not an expert, but I'm just thinking back to 2016 and being at North Park University then. And I know that when Chicago first declared its sanctuary city status, that different universities went through a process to become sanctuary or welcoming. And at that time in 2016, to the best of my knowledge, similar things happened with SGA, kind of how IGA is going through SGA. And then there was at that time on Fridays, a group of students, faculty, and staff that met under Nancy Arneson, Professor Arneson. It was called Collective Conversations. And there were some student representatives that I think were working with faculty, staff, and board members to try to go through that process to become a welcoming campus or a sanctuary campus. And we did not reach that status in 2016, to the best of my knowledge. And I know from going through the process at Truman College and Malcolm X College that we did go through a process, and we worked with the ICIRR. They came to do trainings with us and things like that. And we do have that status. So I'm not sure what's happening now in 2020, but that's a little bit of like history and background. It was a difference between being sanctuary city and sanctuary campus.
That's good to know. I don't know if we are, since, you know, with that information, I don't know if we are. And I can ask a few people on the cabinet to make that, to determine that. And if indeed the institution has gone through, because I wasn't here then, or has gone through that training. I don't know if anybody on the meeting this afternoon actually would have been here during that time to make that determination, but I can investigate.
Thank you, Vice President. And one thing that I wanted to add, I just wanted to get everyone that was willing to provide their remarks. As I was doing my research for today's presentation, I definitely want to make sure that first and foremost, the Office of Diversity and Intercultural Life has additional resources on our website, or maybe a subpage that talks about Chicago being a sanctuary city, and more importantly, the resources provided by the city of Chicago, such as the city key card that allows any resident in Chicago to have a valid ID, government issued ID available to them, which being a Dream US advisor, I am starting to see that maybe our students aren't able to obtain those particular things. And speaking to Inka's point, making sure that if that documentation is allowed through federal government to be something that can be shown as proof of identity, I want to make sure that our students know way more about that, but also just the resources of the Chicago Immigration Clinic and Legal Clinic and different other things. The second thing that I am very excited to do is that in a few short weeks, and maybe January, so I don't want to misquote, we will be welcoming our new director of security to campus. And I've had the opportunity to speak with our new director, and I'm very excited of the ideas and the programming that he has in place. And so talking to him about these matters, as well as some of the concerns from our DACA, undocumented, and mixed immigration status students, and coming together to come up with some solutions that students not only can hear, but also can feel. And of course, providing those to the senior leadership team to formally approve. And so those are two things that I want to make sure that happen in the spring semester, so we can start having our students understand that we are committed to you.
I believe the new director for campus safety and security will begin, you guys might be gone, the end of November. I believe so. Director, oh gosh, McLean.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited. And when I had an opportunity to interview our new director, he was very committed to undocumented and mixed immigration students and making sure they felt safe on campus. So it was a question that I definitely asked on behalf of all of you. Any other ideas or questions on the floor from anyone?
I've reached out, I'm sorry, Director Myrick, I've reached out to a couple of cabinet members, got a response that don't know if it's been stated that we're a sanctuary campus, and the question is, what would that entail? So Melissa, I may be reaching out to you so that we can get this started. I think the students have come to realize that when they ask me a question, I try and reach out and get things done. So we'll be talking.
Definitely feel free. I know that like Nancy Arneson would be happy to help. DJ Crosby was involved in that initiative, and she's still working here at North Park. So that would be another good contact and might know more than I do.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
See you all, you just witnessed potential change and definite action. This is why I love my boss, who is the Vice President of Student Engagement, Andrea Nevels. But most importantly, this is why I love having forums like this, because we are able to hear the voices of our students, our staff, our faculty, and be able to reflect on how we get to make North Park intentionally intercultural and better for everyone. And so sometimes we don't know what we don't know, and that's okay. And we work on it to improve and be better. And that's all we can do to push forward.
And as much as I want you guys to love me, know that sometimes I have to say no, but I'm not saying no right now. I'm trying to find out as much information as I can.
So we only have 4 minutes left. And so with that, I want to invite our dynamic organizer for the week, President Inka, if you have any closing words, and then I'll let them know about the next 2 events that we have going on, our art exhibit that's still going on, and then also your movie night.
I just want to thank everyone that was in attendance today and everyone that did come out and support either this event today or any of the other ones we have held this week. This is definitely an initiative that I'm glad took place, because a lot of other universities don't even have these conversations on campus. So the fact that North Park is doing it already means so much to the student body as well as the students affected. So I'm glad this is something that started, and hopefully this isn't the last time that we have this kind of week. Hopefully this is something we can continue to do in the future. And as Sheree had mentioned, check out the art exhibit in Carlson Tower. And tomorrow is our final and last event for the week. So it is going to be a movie night that is going to be held in JC 314. Bring a mask, bring good vibes. It's going to be a great time. We're going to watch a documentary, and then we're going to have a short little discussion led by one of our members from RDU. And we'll just have a little bit of discussion based on what we saw, how we felt, how we continue to feel. And with election results coming in too, that's another thing we can kind of just create community and a safe space to continue talking about our feelings and everything. And that will be happening, again, JC 314 from 6 to 9 p.m.
Thank you so much. And I want to say, I tell everyone, this is Inka's show. So while I appreciate all the compliments, Inka is the one that secured the grant. Inka is the one that has put this together. Inka is the one that has really been a driving force. And so I just want to thank you publicly for everything you are doing to really leave your impact on this campus, because she's a graduated senior. So please send her jobs. She need a job. She's an accounting major, so help the child out, okay? She need a job. And lastly, she's already told you about our Undocumented Week movie night that'll be going on again in Johnson 314, 6 to 9. So please make sure you watch, you come and enjoy that. RSVP on our Engage page. We also have Jacqueline Rona's Passion of, I'm going to mess this up, Corinna Emagreta. And that is currently in Carlson Tower Hall, art gallery. So please make sure you check it out. It actually takes a young lady who is having mixed immigration status and was at Dominican University, respecting the Christian faith, looking at the 15 stations of Jesus, but doing that, highlighting her DACA process. So you don't want to miss it. It's 15 different portraits. Please go check it out. And we are so happy. And do know her sister is actually alum of North Park University, where she was a part of Lighthouse. So we are in the Pritzker Scholarship. So we are really, really excited to support one of our own. So thank you so much for attending. This was recorded, so please check that out. If you also want to see additional resources for students going into careers as undocumented students or mixed immigration immigration statuses, check out our YouTube page for that information with 4 different professionals of various statuses is there available to you. We'll be sending out an email to also give you additional resources that we talked about today, as well as the resolution by SGA. Thank you so much for attending, and we wish you to have a blessed week. Make sure you come out tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
all.